Imagine that moment at your father's 65th birthday bash in the sun-drenched backyard of your parents' modest suburban Miami home, where the air hums with the sizzle of barbecue ribs and the faint rhythm of old-school jazz drifting from a portable speaker. The palm trees sway lazily overhead, casting dappled shadows on the picnic tables laden with fresh key lime pie and pitchers of iced tea. Relatives cluster like moths to a flame around your older brother, Ryan Carter, showering him with praise for his picture-perfect life, his steady accounting gig at a mid-tier firm, his doting wife with her flawless Instagram feed, their two adorable kids who never seem to fuss, and that sprawling new house in the gated community up north. Their voices rise in a chorus of admiration. Ryan's got it all figured out, stable job, happy family. You're a real inspiration, son. Then, as if on cue, eyes turn to you. Emily Carter, 33 years old, sitting quietly at the edge of the group with a plastic cup in hand. The shift is palpable, a cooling breeze cutting through the humid air. Pitying glances, subtle nods of disappointment. Your aunt leans in, her voice dripping with false concern. Emily, honey, you could learn a thing or two from Ryan. When are you going to settle down like that? The words land like a slow dripping faucet, each one echoing the unspoken judgment that's haunted you since childhood. You force a smile, murmur something vague about your little apartment in the city, and watch as silence blankets the table, Ryan chuckling awkwardly, Mom's eyes widening in feigned surprise, Dad letting out a low whistle that says everything without a word. In that instant, the old wound reopens, raw and festering, reminding you that no matter how far you've come, you're still the afterthought, the shadow in Ryan's golden light. That backyard scene wasn't new. It was the latest chapter in a story etched into your bones from the start. Growing up in that one-story stucco house on a quiet cul-de-sac, with its screened-in porch to fend off the relentless Florida mosquitoes and a backyard dotted with hibiscus bushes that bloomed defiantly in the heat, life had always tilted toward Ryan. 3 years your senior. He was the effortless star, top of his class without cracking a book, quarterback on the high school football team drawing cheers from the bleachers, that magnetic charm that made teachers beam and coaches slap him on the back like a prodigy. Mom and Dad's faces would light up at the mere mention of him, recounting his triumphs over dinner like sacred tales. Did you hear? Ryan's team won the state championship. Scouts are already calling. You'd sit there, fork hovering over your plate, feeling the air thicken with their pride, while your own quiet world went unnoticed. You were the introspective one, curled up in the corner of the living room with a notebook, sketching digital designs or coding simple programs on the family computer, finding solace in the glow of the screen rather than the roar of the crowd. High school for you meant burying yourself in tech classes, dreaming of building apps that could change lives. But when report cards came home, your straight A's earned a pat on the back before the conversation swerved. That's great. But Ryan just got accepted to that big university on a partial scholarship. Birthdays hammered the divide home like nails in a coffin. Yours were low-key affairs, a pizza delivery from the corner joint, a grocery store cake with candles that barely flickered, gifts practical and forgettable, like a new backpack or a gift card. Ryan's? Full-blown spectacles. The backyard transformed with string lights and rented bounce houses. Mom slaving over homemade empanadas and tres leches cake for days. Invitations flying out to half the neighborhood. You'd help set up, stringing banners with a forced grin, swallowing the bitter taste of being sidelined even on neutral ground. And when you shone, like landing your first freelance coding gig in college or winning a hackathon prize, the praise was a whisper, quickly overshadowed. Good job, sweetie. Hey, speaking of wins, Ryan's firm just promoted him again. Those slights piled up like unseen scars, teaching you that love in this family was conditional. measured in spotlights you could never quite reach. It bred a quiet resilience, a determination to forge your path in the shadows, where no one could diminish what you built. After community college, where you majored in computer science with a focus on software development, you landed an entry-level job at a small tech startup in downtown Miami. The days blurred into nights of debugging code, learning algorithms on free online platforms, and tinkering with side projects that honed your skills in app development and data security. Overtime became your norm. Unpaid hours stacking up as you volunteered for the grunt work no one else wanted, fixing server crashes at 2 a.m., optimizing databases for faster queries. Family visits dwindled. You'd drive the familiar highway back to the suburbs less often. Conversations skimming the surface like stones on water. Traffic's brutal. Or how's the weather treating you? They rarely asked about your work. And you stopped volunteering details, building an invisible wall to protect your fragile progress from the inevitable comparisons. It hurt, that isolation. But it also freed you, allowing the embers of your ambition to burn brighter in solitude, unquenched by their indifference. In the shadows of those years, your career exploded without a single family cheer. A headhunter from a top Silicon Valley outpost in Miami poached you for a senior developer role at a cutting-edge fintech company, where you led teams building secure mobile banking apps for global clients. The work was electric, coordinating with engineers across continents, architecting systems that handled millions in transactions daily, troubleshooting breaches that could cost fortunes. Your first major win, overhauling a fraud detection algorithm for a European bank, slashing false positives by 40% and earning a client testimonial that rippled through the industry. Bonuses rolled in quarterly, fat enough to let you dream big. You invested wisely, paying off student loans and squirreling away the rest until you could afford a sleek penthouse condo in a high-rise overlooking Biscayne Bay, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the turquoise water. A minimalist setup with smart home tech you programmed yourself. A balcony where the sea breeze whispered secrets of independence. Morning started with yoga on that balcony, the sun rising like a promise. Evenings melted into coding marathons or quiet dinners of grilled fish from the local market. Weekends? Solo hikes in the Everglades or coding meetups with like-minded devs. Forging connections that felt earned, not inherited. You kept it all under wraps from the family, vague answers to their rare probes. A shield against the theft of your joy. The silence wasn't revenge, it was survival. A balm for the old wounds that still ached in quiet moments. When Mom called about Dad's birthday, the invitation tugged at buried loyalties. And you agreed, navigating the traffic-choked interstate with a mix of dread and curiosity. Stepping into the backyard that day, the scene unfolded like a rerun, Ryan at the center, you on the periphery. The pitying comments slicing deeper now against the backdrop of your hidden triumphs. But something shifted post-party. Calls trickled in more often. Mom's voice laced with newfound warmth, chatting about leaky roofs after hurricane season. The mold creeping in like unspoken guilt. Ryan texted about upgrading to a minivan for the kids, hinting at down payments and family deals. Dad waxed nostalgic about retirement dreams derailed by skyrocketing healthcare costs, his sighs heavy with implication. You sent the money at first, wires for repairs, contributions to their burdens, each transfer stirring a flicker of hope. A delusion that this was reconciliation. That your success had finally made you visible, valuable. The interactions warmed you, thawing the ice of years. Even as a nagging doubt whispered in the back of your mind, why now? Why only when needs arose? That fragile illusion shattered one humid afternoon when Grandma Evelyn called, her voice a steady anchor in the storm. Always the fair one, treating you like the granddaughter who mattered beyond comparisons. She hesitated before spilling the truth she'd overheard post-dinner in the backyard. Mom. Dad. And Ryan laughing about how you'd finally become useful, plotting to keep Emily hooked for the cash flow. Assuming your desperation for approval would blind you. The words punched through the phone like shards of glass, each syllable embedding deeper betrayal not just in action, but in their casual cruelty. Reducing you to a ATM after decades of dismissal. You sat on the balcony afterward, the ocean mocking your turmoil with its endless calm. Waves of grief crashing in, the pain of confirmation. The fool you'd been for hoping. The raw exposure of wounds you'd bandaged alone. No tears came, instead. A cold resolve hardened, born from the ashes of that shattered trust. You didn't lash out instead. You observed, ceasing the transfers while maintaining polite facades, watching the warmth evaporate like morning dew. Calls grew sparse, laced with veiled pleas, Mom on private tutors for the grandkids, Ryan on vacation budgets, Dad on AC replacements in the sweltering heat. Thanksgiving arrived. The table groaning under turkey and stuffing, the air thick with forced cheer. Over pie. You dropped the bomb calmly, recounting Grandma's revelation without rage. Just facts that hung like smoke. Denials flew, just a joke, misunderstood stress, but you rose, coat in hand, declaring the well dry. Driving away. The rearview mirror framed their stunned faces, a quiet triumph blooming in your chest. Not vindictive, but liberating. The rail explosion came weeks later, an email touting Carter Tech Network, a sham online community promising elite coding mentorships and job hooks for a fee. Your photo splashed across the site. Bio twisted from old chats, positioning you as the star founder to lure suckers. Ryan and Dad as co-organizers, peddling your reputation like cheap merchandise. The violation burned hotter than any financial grab, your hard-won credibility. Forged in sleepless nights and solo battles. Commodified without consent. Anger surged. A bungalowing fury that propelled you to a lawyer's office. Cease and desist flying out like a missile. Ryan's defensive call for the family. Met your steal, no more. Blocks went up. Numbers changed. Bridges burned to ash. In the aftermath, life bloomed in the void. Promotions at work stacked like code layers. Your apps securing fortunes, friendships deepened over beach bonfires, hobbies like photography captured Miami's raw pulse. A year on. A cousin's neutral update via grandma, Dad grinding overtime. Ryan demoted after the scam's fallout. The family home sold for a cramped downgrade. No glee stirred, you'd paid the price in isolation. In the echo of lost illusions, but release washed over you. Profound and untainted. From your balcony, the ocean whispered freedom. Grandma's calls the only thread worth keeping. A testament that some scars heal when you choose silence over suffering. Vengeance through vanishing rather than violence. The cost? A family lost. The gain? A self-reclaimed. Steady and unbreakable.